Y'all, I've never been told by a client that I should take a sales call and put it on the podcast. But today's guest told me that. And then unfortunately, the sales call was such poor quality that I couldn't actually put it on the podcast. And so now we are recording technically her offboarding call for this podcast so that we can just see what the process is like. And Erin can tell you about her experience inside of Systems in Session. Erin, hello.
Hi, happy to be here,
Ah,
Colie.
well, I'm happy to have you. So, first, let's kind of recap that sales conversation because it was really good. And then I couldn't actually put it on the podcast. But I feel like the good nugget of what you wanted to share was how you came to your decision between Systems in Session. So, before we hop into that, Erin, tell me, how did you find me on the internet?
Oh my gosh, I don't know if I can answer that. It's been so long. I think it was from one of your podcasts. Yeah, I probably replied and wanted some freebie.
Yes, you
Yeah,
did. So it
yeah.
was really strange because you joined my email list from a podcast episode that was exactly 2 years old. And I was just so shocked that you contacted me specifically from that podcast episode that I've actually recorded a new podcast episode that is going to go live on my podcast manager's show because she was so shocked when I told her the story. But you found me through the Business Road Trip series that I did with 7 other photography podcast hosts. And you signed up for that freebie. And the reason that I know that it was that one is because that freebie doesn't exist anywhere else except for that one particular episode. And it was how I could track it. But you signed up for the freebie. And then all of a sudden, I had a sales call with you. And then all of a sudden, 3 days later, you were my client. So when you first signed up to do like the consultation call, sales call, whatever we're going to call it today, what were your thoughts and like what were you feeling in terms of getting your systems revamped?
Okay, now I remember exactly what I was thinking and feeling because my business is in about its fourth year, third or fourth year. So, you go through that. Everyone goes through the kind of the same thing, I think, where, you're learning your business, you're getting your skills up to speed. And then I'm getting more and more clients, I'm getting busier, and I'm like, I cannot manage this. Everything's falling through the cracks. I've heard of these CRM things, like what are they? So you kind of go down rabbit holes of like, okay, there's Dubsado. Wow, it's like this beast. There's Honeybook. So I found Dubsado. I was like, this is the one. But I have no idea how to use it, right? I used it for a while, like the bare bones minimum. I'm like, okay, I got a project, I got an invoice and a contract, and that's all I used it for. And then just continued to like just drop things and get frustrated with like, oh my gosh, I knew to remind that client, but I never reminded her. She forgot, I forgot. So, I looked through podcasts, I found a couple people that were teaching Dubsado. And I was like, I am a control freak. I know myself. If someone's going to do it for me, it's not going to be done the way I want it. I don't want someone to do it for me. But I can't figure it out like piecemealing it from YouTube videos or piecemealing it here and there. And so when it came up that you had this thing that was like, you're going to do it and I'm going to teach you, I'm like, bingo, this is me. This is my personality. And I knew it right away. It was just like an instinct. So when we had the sales call, I was like, how do I sign up? Whatever it costs.
Well, and it was funny because you actually just joined my list at like the perfect time because I had just launched for my blueprint course, which is done, DIY. You do it yourself. And you didn't join the list until the flash sale, until the launch was done. But then you got one of the emails that was like, hey, I mean, in case the blueprint wasn't right for you, I've got this new thing that I'm testing. And then you were immediately like, oh my God, tell me more. And then that was when I sent you the page and you signed up for the consult call. So then we got on the consult call and you were like, Colie, this is gold. Like, this is what you need to share with people so that they can make their own decision. And then I went and listened to the call and I was sick, like dead ass sick, everyone. Like I had sounded like absolute crap for weeks. It prevented me from recording my email course. It was really bad. And I was like, I can't put this on the air. But basically what Erin and I talked about was with the blueprint course, it is beginning to end everything that you need to set up in your Dubsado business using the signature system that I used to use inside my own photography business. But what I discovered through having Erin in Systems in Session and a couple of the other people is that Systems in Session is really for the people who have the capacity to do it themselves, but they want somebody there to explain it to them and kind of make sure that they're making the right choices. Because Erin is right. Dubsado is a beast. There is no one way to use Dubsado effectively, but there is probably like a premium way to use it for your business. And so that was what she was interested in inside Systems in Session. So you were using Dubsado before that, but you were only using it, bare bones, as you said. The first thing that we set up for you was your proposal. Like, why was that important to you inside of Systems in Session to get that taken care of right away? Why was that your priority?
I think it's the proposal. I've received proposals from creatives or service businesses. I'm being the receiver of it, being like impressed. So I'm like, I know that I want that because that was impressive. I want to impress people, but I also knew, like, I dove into a couple of like the templates, or I think they give you free, in the forms section of Dubsado, it's like, here's a template, and I was like, I have no idea how to do this. So I knew I needed your help, and I wanted like one-on-one help with that. And I wanted a little extra, like I wanted it to be special. I didn't want just like the basic. I wanted a little extra. So I knew you could give me that. I knew you could work with me on that. And I do think now that I've implemented it and I've used it on a few clients, it is really special. And it's like, people have told me, wow, that's like, no one does that. That's like extra attention, extra care that they want.
Yeah, and I mean, I will say the proposal that you built that as my husband says, I was the supervisor. The one that I supervised you creating, I do feel like it is completely on brand for you. It is a very luxury feeling proposal, which matches like your entire system, like your entire business, because you do the custom framing. And I told you this, I thought it was really funny that you are the second custom framer to actually be in Systems in Session. And I'm like, this must be a thing. Like, can I use SEO on it? Can I be like, if you custom make frames for your clients, I am the systems person for you?
Yeah, you should.
Okay, so you've used the proposal. And I mean, I think it took us a couple weeks to get it done, but I want the audience to understand she's not just using like a regular one with Dubsado native features. We did create her one that had, CSS coding in it. It has vertical timelines. It has images that kind of swish in. Like it is very high touch, very luxury. But it took us a couple weeks. And so how did it feel doing that on your own? Because one thing that people, I show people how great a proposal can be inside Dubsado. And I always say, but if you don't want to do the CSS coding, we can use Dubsado native features. But like, how did it feel to you, someone who isn't really like super techie, to like create a proposal like that, just with asking me and me showing you how to, modify some of the things?
Way easier than I thought. I think it's like, I would say like the moral of the story of working with you in general, Colie, is that like it's way less overwhelming than your brain makes it out to be, especially if you have someone to like kind of immediately tell you what to do. So if I didn't have you to be like SOS call or SOS ticket and just quickly be like, here, Erin, I'd be like, I'd probably spiral for days and never do it again. I would just not do it. And so the coding is not hard. It's really like, it's just, if you played Atari when you were little, like it's just that look. You just have to go in and like, it's just on the side. It's really the same thing. It's just a different format.
It is. So you mentioned SOS calls and SOS tickets. So I do want to say, guys, this is what makes Systems in Session so special, is that I am your systems professor. I am your best friend, but I do give you two different mediums on how to get support inside the container, because I have always felt on the receiving end of coaching. Sometimes I just want to ask you a question and I want to be able to go through it in real time. Because when I would send my coach a question and then I would have to wait for a response, I mean, like, I've either figured it out on my own or I've moved on to something else, or it just bothered me that I couldn't like get the question answered until I moved on. And so I do have 20-minute SOS calls, as Erin shared with you. And these are, you can schedule them at any time that you want, as long as there's one available. And you can get on there and ask me a question, or I can demonstrate something for you, or we can build something together. Because at quite a few points where Erin was working on her proposal, she would be like, okay, Colie, I need to do this and I don't know how. And instead of me just telling her how to do it, like she scheduled a 20-minute call and we just did it together. And then she finished that task on her own. But like being able to hop on the call and see me get it started or see me, answer her questions, just got her unstuck faster. And then there's support tickets, which is, maybe you have a question at 2 a.m. when I am not going to get on a video call with you. And so you send in a question, but those are things that are not really like immediate. These are things that, are on your list and you're wondering, but like it's not really preventing you from moving on to the next task.
Yeah, those were huge. And I don't want to like set the bar way too high for you, Colie, but you were so quick. Like you were quick. Even if I was like, oh, it's low urgency, it was like I would barely even like, do something else and then look back and you answered it. And I'm so thankful because you were always very timely.
Well, I will say, Erin kind of works on my schedule, guys. So it's not that she was emailing me with a support ticket at 3 a.m. and I was answering her. Although, guys, I am an early riser. So sometimes I really am awake at 4 a.m. working. Although my husband has tried to break me of this habit. Now I get online and I play Catan on my Switch instead of starting to work at 4 a.m. So I do have a different pattern now. But no, I do feel like, especially if it only takes me like 10 minutes to send you a quick note to get you unstuck, that is how you progress to do your own systems in the most efficient way. Is, because like you said, if you didn't have me there and you weren't able to like ask your question and get unstuck, you would spiral for days. And I truly believe that that is why a lot of people don't ever finish setting up their own systems, because the spiral is never ending. It's like you spiral on one thing. And when you finally get that figured out and you move on to the next thing, it's not even that the task is very difficult, but sometimes you have decision fatigue. Like,
Yes.
again, there's so many ways to do things in Dubsado that you are feeling like, oh, I have to find the perfect way. And you might not understand. Yeah, it doesn't matter if you pick A or B. Let's just pick one and go with it and move forward.
And fix it later, right? And then it's like, you're going to have those trip ups along the way and you got to expect them and nothing's perfect. So you have to have a little bit of leniency in that. And like you set up the workflow, you test it a few times and maybe it takes 3 or 4 times, but then it's ironed out and then you get it. But I will say about the tickets, it's not only like, oh, you're gonna like write back and I have to like read what you wrote and interpret it and then do it. You would send me a loom and it was like that and you showed me. So it was basically like being on an SOS call or being on a Zoom, because then you also have it saved. I've actually looked back at a couple things when I was doing one of my workflows this morning and I replayed our SOS call together and like re-walk through it. And I'm like, okay, I have that forever to go back to. And so that's really helpful.
Yeah, it's funny. I consider that to be like your library of how-to videos. And speaking of which, the next thing that I wanted to ask you about is your communication library, your client emails, because that was actually one of the first tasks that you did. You decided to join Systems in Session and you were like, hey, Colie, I've got this working weekend away from my house. Like, I'm going to go stay in a hotel for a night. Like, what is it that I can accomplish on my own while I'm there? And I was like, oh, client communication emails. That is what you're going to do. So I gave you access to the Systems Professor email assistant, which is in my Email Like You Mean It course. And you sat down and I want you to tell me about writing those emails, because like I am always super impressed to hear about people's pre-written client communication emails, because it's the unsung hero of systems. Like nobody believes how awesome it is to write your emails. They like to think of the flashy thing like the proposal. I think the proposal is why people pay me. But really, the client emails is like where the value really is.
Oh, 100%. Oh my gosh. I've had three, I can definitely say at least three people just say like the emails that I sent them, they're not over the top. They're not like, they aren't, coded or, anything's flashy. It's just simply written. And I love in your Systems Professor and Chat GPT, it's the way you've built it is with the 3 Ps, I think, but
Yes.
it gives you, your purpose, I don't know what they all are,
Personality and
but
preview.
yeah, personality and preview. And so, I'm getting off a little off track here, but they're huge. Like I think I wrote 33 emails that 24-hour span. Like I went on my little like work vacation by myself, sat in my hotel room, and I wrote out, and I timed them because I was like, I can't wait to tell Colie how easy this is with Syst. It was so easy. And the fact that ChatGPT, the way you built it, really got my personality, and I was flying through them. And I was also just blown away by like, it really did sound natural. It was kind of creepy. I'm like, I sometimes I took something I already had and said, here's what I'm kind of like, here's my email that I've written, but make it better, like incorporate the 3 Ps. And it would spit out just something like 1,000 times more just energetic, short, sweet, poppy, like, oh, it was so good. And so I think it took me like, a handful of hours the day. Went back after dinner, had like an hour or so. And then the next day, a little bit of the morning, and I was done with my 33 emails. And it was like, the wait, I'm like, that I thought that would have taken me like 6 weeks, but you can, if you really just go for it. Yeah, it's kind of torturous. You gotta like, it's not hard, but it's torturous. You just gotta do it, and then it's done.
I mean, but when it comes, like you said, 33 emails. And the funny thing is, I've done this in a presentation. I think that there are 12 emails bare minimum that every photographer or creative service provider usually needs to send to their clients. And that's from inquiry all the way to delivery. But that doesn't include any reminders. That doesn't include anything that you have to prompt your client to do more than one time. So when you include all of those, it actually goes from 12 to 25. And so think about that. I say 25 emails, and Erin is telling you that she wrote 33, but those are 33 emails that she really never has to think about again. Now, we could go into her Dubsado and like look at how many of those are automated versus not, or how many she's going to add 5 minutes of customization to before she sends it. But the bottom line is she took a weekend and went and stayed in a hotel away from her family where she actually had time to think and wrote 33 emails. And those are basically emails that you never have to think about again, versus every single time you get a new client and you feel like you have to write that email again and again. It keeps you consistent. And again, clients notice those things. We don't think that clients care about our systems. They 100% care about what goes on from the moment that they inquire to booking all the way until you do the session and you deliver those photos.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so many compliments on it. It's just the peace of mind for me. Like I said, I've had many instances where I just have too much on my plate and I don't remember. And now my workflows and my emails are done. And even if I do have some extra approvals on there, Colie, that you may not want me to have, it's peace of mind that like I do have a reminder. Where am I at in that, that client, that one client out of 12 clients that's going on right now? Like it tells me, it prompts me, and it keeps me on track, and I don't go to bed or even wake up in the morning being like, oh God, what did I miss? Like sometimes I'm just always in a state of like, I know I have a lot going on. Now I feel calm and confident. It's a whole personality shift. Like it's a massive improvement in my business, in my life.
I mean, when you don't wake up panicked and the first thing that you feel like you have to do is open your computer every morning, it's really funny. I don't think that you told me this, but I've had at least 5 clients that have told me, no, it's really nice to wake up in the morning and enjoy my coffee and not worry about opening my computer until the kids go to school.
Yeah.
Like, and I feel like that should be on a bumper sticker, because when I did my own systems, it didn't actually occur to me that that was what I enjoyed most, because I actually like working first thing in the morning. It is part of my personality. It is part of when my brain is the snappiest. But once my husband started making my morning coffee and like bringing it to me in bed every morning, I'm like, oh, but like I can sit here and drink my coffee and scroll on Instagram and then go open my computer, and feel refreshed and actually start to work for the day. But I do enjoy that I give a lot of people like peace of mind. Like, no, I don't even open the computer now until the kids are gone. And then it's like I have time to commit to my business and I don't feel frazzled because, oh my gosh, that client emailed me overnight and now I feel the pressure to send them an email before I take the kids to school.
Mm-hmm.
And I have more than once dropped my kid off late because I was trying to deal with client emails before we got in the car for drop off.
Yep.
Okay, let's talk about those workflows, Erin. So it's funny because on one of our previous like calls, I think in the last 2 weeks, you were like, okay, Colie, my family workflows are done. I am ready to tackle my newborn workflows. So, Erin, did you complete your homework? Are your newborn workflows done?
Yes, I did them this morning because, yes, I was on a vacation. So I came back from vacation, didn't want to work hard, but I was like, all right, I'm doing it. I have a deadline. I'm speaking to Colie. And I think start to finish, and I wasn't really rushing. I looked at the clock after I was done. I was like, oh, that was within 2 hours that I really could take I think I have like 5 pieces of the full workflow is like, the inquiry, the onboard, blah, 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 blah. So yes, I did it and I feel pretty confident in it.
2 hours. Now imagine, I mean, I don't know how many hours it took us to do your workflows. I'm sure it was probably 7 hours,
Yeah. Oh,
something like that. Because, you worked on them, you came to me, you asked me questions, we looked at pieces, we swapped the order, we changed the triggers. I mean, and these are normal things when you work with me. And sometimes once you've put it all together and I'm looking at it, one of the biggest things that people have trouble with, and hopefully Dubsado is going to eventually fix this, but knowing between when to use an appointment trigger and a project trigger. That is like that number one thing. And so I actually think that that is something that I point out to every single person, no matter if I remind you of it when you're making your workflows or not. But so, 7 hours to make your family, if we add it all up, including all the times that you and I chatted. But now you did newborn workflows all by yourself for 2 hours this morning, because that is like the power of doing it yourself, is
yeah.
that you didn't feel the need to be like, hey, Colie, I need to do newborn workflows now. Are you going to map them out for me? Are you going to tell me exactly what to do? You just took your family workflows, duplicated them, and then customized them.
And then
So
you're learning all along. Like I'm learning, I'm also, reinforcing the learning that I did, and I'm getting stronger and smarter at it. And I have one more workflow, my heirloom portraits to do.
mhm.
But it's that peace of mind of being like, I can do myself.
Now, are you going to make a separate newborn proposal? We did your family one and it's nice and it's pretty and it's really fancy, but are you intending to use like that one portrait proposal for everything, or are you going to duplicate it and
Mhm.
make other versions?
I did. So that was also what was like, I'm pretty proud of myself is in that 2 hours. Not only did I adjusted and created some new emails that were different for newborns, but I also went into the proposal, copied it, and then reworded a handful of sections to be newborn specific. And the only thing I have to do is just swap out some photos just to be more, have more
Mhm.
newborn photos. But I completely changed the proposal. And that was like piece of cake, coding and everything.
Erin, I'm so impressed. Okay, are you on Threads? Because this week I was actually on there with like sadness from Inside Out. I put that GIF on there and I'm like, I'm so sad because 3 of my people are graduating from Systems in Session this week and I just don't know what to do. But I am just so proud of like each and every one of you and what you guys are doing, because you're not the only one that like went and like immediately jumped to, okay, we did offer number 1. Now let me switch and do offer number 2 and like see what's going on. So when you redid the emails, I have a question. Did you go back to the systems professor email assistant to do the newborn, or did you just change it on your own?
I went and I'm obsessed with it. Like I've used it for I hope it's allowed, but a couple other emails outside of business because
Yes.
it knows my personality, and so you can just even like I like doing like the voice to text and just plopping it in and being like, here are my jumbled up thoughts. Can you put it into the 3 Ps? Can you put it? So yeah, I went in there. I wrote some really great like revamped some of my newborn 5 days till your session, 2 days till your session tomorrow, and so it really zhushed them up.
So do you realize, Erin, that I didn't actually have the 3P framework until April?
Oh,
So
really?
granted, I've always helped people write their emails. I mean, that's always been a very big part of my service. I was actually writing the emails for people. And like when they would tell me, oh no, I already have my emails done, I'm like, no, I promise I'm going to find things to add to them. Like, just trust me.
Yeah.
And my done for you clients have always come on the other side and been like, wow, like these are really good emails. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm not an email copywriter. I just know what to say to clients. Like, don't get me wrong. I don't really like writing things, but writing things to like push people along systems, oh no, I'm great. And it wasn't until I realized, I mean, it was probably like the 12th person that was like, Colie, those emails are really good. I was like, you know what? I should probably figure out a way to teach this. So I literally went through my things and I was like, okay. And I went to Chat GPT. I'm going to be honest on this podcast. I was like, these are the things that I teach people. I need you to help me come up with a framework of alliteration for the words. And
Mm.
some of the things that it gave me were like way out there. I was like, no, that's nonsense. No. So then when it came to the 3Ps, the first one, the purpose, I got that, and then personality. But it was the third one. I was like, okay, I really like these Ps, but like I literally cannot think of one to go at the end. And so it came up with preview, and I was like, okay, no, that's great. And then later, when we were doing something, it said process. And I was like, oh, That actually might be better because it's where you are in the process. It's a preview of what's next in the process. And I was like, okay, well, if I ever give it like a change, if I ever give it a glow up, maybe I'll go from preview to process. But I also feel like everybody understands what you're saying when you say preview, like tell
Yeah.
me what comes next.
Yeah.
But yeah, that didn't exist before April.
That's genius. I don't know what you put in there, but it also helped because I was semi fairly clear on, okay, here are like the order of my emails. You know, like I know my client experience, I know what I do, but it prompted me with great, you know, it would like cheer me on a little. It'd be like, great email, being really clear about blah, blah, blah. Would you like me to write you an email like, you know, not only did it say like a little more friendly or a little more professional, but it was like, do you want me to also create an email that then does this for your client experience? But I was like, I don't do that, but that's a great idea. Yes. And then it would draft up an email and I'd be like, I'm going with that. But it was things I hadn't thought of that were golden because I'm like, you don't know what you don't know. You know, that's why you have, you know, friends in business or mentors and people that can share. But that was another way that I've learned some things and implemented some new things.
Yeah, I mean, it was really so when I made the GPT. So, the thing about making GPTs is it takes a lot of testing, like a lot. And so, when I made the first one that would create Dubsado workflows for you, my husband was like, I'm really hoping that you're done with this soon because the amount of yelling that you are doing from our bedroom as you are sitting in bed and going back and forth, because the GPT, like I got it where I wanted it, and then I would change one thing and it would like take away the last five things that we had just done. But I didn't struggle as much making the email one. It was actually kind of joyful. I think because I was doing a better job by the time I made the email GPTs of knowing exactly what should go into the knowledge file and like getting all of the information that was in my brain and getting it into the GPT. So, like, one of the things that I love that I think the GPT is not quite doing it better than me, but it probably will be soon. Like, I really love for people to just come to me and tell me what their process is, and I will find more emails for you to send your clients to nurture them. Like, that is definitely one of my gifts. I'm like, well, have you thought about asking them this? Do you
Yeah.
have a blog post about this? And they're like, well, no, but that's totally a great idea. And I'm like, there you go. Merry Christmas. Like, I would really like to get the GPT to the point to where it does suggest those things even better than me. But one of the ways that I do that is every time I help somebody in a different industry that I've never really done inside the GPT before, I will write something new and add it up to the knowledge files. And like, even if I've suggested something to a website designer, when I put it into the GPT, if it's appropriate for you, it will suggest that same thing, but for a photographer and not for a website designer. So that's definitely like one of the perks of using these GPTs to help push you along, but also give you even more ideas. If, again, it's like 3 o'clock in the morning and Colie is not available for you to ask, you can start with one of the GPTs, get, something going, and then you can always come to me for feedback and a support ticket or a 20-minute call after.
Oh, it's so good, Colie. So good.
Okay, so you and I are like almost done with our systems in session. I am going to test your newborn workflows for you, and I'm sure that they are going to be great because of all of the time that we spent doing the family one. But then you just have heirloom portraits yet, and then you're done.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh. Okay, so versus when we started working together and now we're working together, like I know that you're totally confident in, using the workflows, but is there anything else that you feel like you still want to explore related to using Dubsado or your client communication or your workflows that we didn't get a chance to do?
Hmm. No, I'm trying to think of. No, I mean, I would have asked already. I feel like, no, unless you tell me something new, like a hidden gem that I don't know about, but no.
No, it's funny. So the first five of you have actually really helped me craft. Like, I have productized the service even more now. Like, now I have these specific milestones that people going forward are going to hit. And
Mm.
of course, the proposal, the 5-minute booking process is definitely one of them. But like some of these milestones, for example, would be, creating your 5-minute booking process, creating your client communication library, creating your inquiry workflow. Like, I've got these different milestones so that now, hopefully, when someone comes to the end of their program and I look at the list of things that you needed to have completed, in the 60 days while you're in the program, we can check all of them off. And
Yeah.
the other thing that you first five that, trusted me so much to work with me on this process, one of the things that I got from you guys is that everybody comes in with completely different systems to start. Now I've got a couple of completely newbies, but you first five, none of you were new. Like you all had an idea of what your client experience would be. You all had, some emails written. Some people had a proposal, but it just wasn't elevated to their brand. And like, one of the things that I love about Systems in Session is that we really do look at everything that you've done thus far, and we're approaching it to get the things done that you don't already have, but also improve on the things that you have. But it is my goal that at the end of everyone's time in Systems in Session, if I look at these milestones, I want to be able to check the boxes off for every single one of you.
Yeah. I definitely feel like you have. Yeah.
Well, Erin, if someone was like, hey, I saw that you did Systems in Session with Colie. What did you think of it? What would you say as like a closing remark that's probably going to end up on the website? Just warning you.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Very truthful here. I'm blown away by, I know how much work you probably have put in behind the scenes, but I would say the number one thing that this has helped me with was peace of mind, ease, because if I would have tackled it any other way, I would be much more overwhelmed many more days of my life. Like it just has saved me so much time and energy and frustration. And then the knowledge, it's like basically you were training me. You're training me. And I also built this amazing back end of my business that's going to really show my high end clients that this is all worth it to them. This is like they're getting their money's worth. But just blown away by all the tools, just like top notch service, like everything, Colie. Like you're brilliant. So everyone should know, no matter what they would work with you, what capacity they work with you, it's going to be really, really high quality, and it's well worth it. Well worth it.
Oh, thank
Extremely.
you, Erin. So the funny thing is, I keep asking people this, and do you know that none of you were talking about like how amazing the workflows are and how amazing the proposal is? I think it's so interesting that at the end of the work, everybody talks about how nice their business is, like how
Mhm.
much they are enjoying running their business again versus before. Because you don't know what you don't know until you get into it, and then you know what's possible. Like a lot of my clients just think, well, no, it's a business. It's supposed to be stressful. And
Mhm.
like I recently did a solo episode, which I'm going to link in the show notes. But basically, what I was saying is you do not need fancy systems to make six figures. You really don't. It
Yeah.
is math. You can figure out a way to make six figures. But what comes with systems is ease. What comes with systems is knowing that you are running a better business, and it gives you more capacity to do other things besides work in your business. Like I always think that the best thing that I could give someone is like a vacation with their kids where you are not worrying about what is happening with your business while you are at Disneyland. Oh, I'm sorry. That's just me. Like you just went to Jamaica. Wasn't it
Yeah.
nice to be in Jamaica and not really think about your business?
100%. It's just set me up because I could really disconnect and feel confident that things were either moving or I was going to get a reminder to be like, hey, so and so just did this. Make sure you do this. And I could put it on my notebook. Like otherwise I would just come home and be lost. But you're right. For me, the overall thing, like from start to finish, was I'm impressed how fast it was, how easy it was, the guidance, the speed of guidance, and then the peace of mind is really like I feel so much more confident and calm. Like you can't put a price tag on that. You can't.
Well, I certainly try.
Yeah.
Okay, Erin, first of all, I just want to say thank you so much for joining the program and having the confidence in me that you were going to come out on the other side. Because, some people are still coming to me for like done for you. And I'm like, yeah, but like really, you can do it. Like with me there. And I'm almost to the point to where I just want to say no to done for you. Although my business coach has convinced me that there will be like an add-on to Systems in Session if you really want it done for you, but I'm still working
Hmm.
that out. But in general, like done with you is what makes me happy. And it really makes me ecstatic to know that there are people out there like you that really want the done with you as well.
Yeah, yeah, good. You're such a professor at heart. You could tell you want to teach. You feel like I. Sometimes I would ask a question. I'd be like, I know this is a dumb question. I know I asked her already, and you were so sweet in the way you re-explained it. I was like, oh, I love that she like didn't like get irritated or mad at me. You know, you were just very nurturing, nurturing.
Girl, years of practice trying to explain algebra, statistics, and calculus to college students. That's where it comes from,
Yeah,
honestly.
your patience.
Because you do have to figure out 5 different ways to explain the quadratic formula before some people get it. And like that was definitely one of my superpowers as a math professor was, okay, this, standard way of me explaining this didn't work. Let's try these 4 other ways. One of them has got to work to make
Right,
it click in your brain. So, I mean, that's
exactly.
all systems are, though, is just puzzles. And again, there is no one way to do it. There are wrong ways, but there is not one single way to do it right. And so that
Right.
is what I love about what I do.
Mm-hmm.
All right, everyone. So I hope that this kind of behind the scenes, as Erin and I talked about her time inside of Systems in Session, has helped you not only think about your own business, but honestly, if you want to jump in and do your own systems, you don't have to join me in Systems in Session. I am just here in case you want me to hold your hand along the way. All right, that's it for this episode. See you next time.